Hello and a warm welcome to TBC News. Our headlines tonight. TANROADS instructed to improve on managing road projects. China to end mandatory quarantine for international visitors. Good evening, I am Faida Gaga. You can also follow us live via our YouTube channel, TBC Online. Also, get all the latest news through our Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter pages at TBC Online. The Minister for Works and Transport, Professor Makame Mbarawa, has directed the Tanzania Road Agency, TANROADS, to manage the road constructions professionally in order to achieve the targeted goals. He gave the directions in Mbeya during the signing ceremony between TANROADS and the road construction contractor in Kyela district for a 32-kilometer long tarmac road. The road is estimated to cost approximately 38 billion shillings until its completion, and the construction is expected to take 2 years.
Imefanya hivyo kwa kutenga fedha katika bajeti ya serikali.
The government has done this by allocating money in the government budget, and today the construction of the asphalt level of this road we are talking about, which is 32 kilometers long, all its costs have been covered by our government at 100%. We as the Ministry of the Construction and Transport, we as TANROADS, our responsibility now is to manage this road so that we get value of money as directed in the project. I instruct TANROADS to manage this project with great standard so that the road can be used for a long period of time. Dear guest leaders, I would like also to thank the leadership and citizens of Mbeya region who live near the area of the projects and the other areas in Mbeya region for the cooperation they gave to constructors who work in other areas of Mbeya region. We ask that you give this constructor your cooperation to ensure that this project is built according to the proportions we will agree on. I would like to give an opinion on the question of projects and materials that will be used in construction to emphasize our citizens around the project's area to avoid any kind of illegal acts on construction materials in this project and all other projects going on in the country.
In addition, Professor Mbarawa has asked the citizens to be patriotic and refrain from theft and misuse of the construction materials. The Tanzanian ambassador to China, Mbelwa Kairuki, urges Tanzanians who plan to go to China to start their journeys from the 8th of January next year. These include those who are going for various activities, including business, because the mandatory quarantine requirement for international arrivals will be removed. This follows China's National Health Commission, NHC, announcing that China will drop quarantine requirements for international arrivals from January 8th in a major step towards reopening its borders that have shut the country from the rest of the world for nearly 3 years. Rehema Sababili reports.
Easing its zero-COVID policy, China will no longer ask the country's inbound travelers to quarantine from January 8. Speaking over the phone, Tanzania ambassador to China, Mbelwa Kairuki, says, according to the announcement from the National Health Commission, people arriving in China will only be required to obtain negative COVID test results within 48 hours of departure.
This is a good news for our fellow Tanzanians who are usually going to China for business activities, employment activities, studies. So Tanzanians who are planning trips to China should travel in January when these conditions have been cancelled.
On the other hand, some business persons at the International Market of Kariakor in Dar es Salaam have said that the decision made by China's government will help them facilitate business activities between the two countries.
Staying in quarantine for 18 days increased the cost of businessman, but also delayed him time, and it was difficult for us to travel to China for business activities.
Nimefurahi sana wa China kuondoa haya mambo ya.
I am very happy that the Chinese removed the quarantine because we had been wasting a lot of time and money for spending 80 days in quarantine.
Inabidi ukifika tena ukae tena siku 8 tena uanze kufanya biashara.
Kuondolewa kwa hilo zuio.
The lifting of the ban will help us a lot because it was costly in terms of time and money. And staying in quarantine for 8 days and then doing your activities was very costly. We are grateful that they decided to open doors that will enable us to do business.
Under current conditions, all inbound passengers are required to quarantine at a hotel for 5 days, then another 3 days once they get home. Reporting from Dar es Salaam, Rehema Sibabili, TBC.
Thank you, Rehema, for that report. Moving on, the Tanzania Meteorological Authority, TMA, issues an alert for the presence of heavy rains in the regions of Singida, Dodoma, and Ruvuma, and in the south of Morogoro region tomorrow, December 28th. Speaking to TBC, meteorological expert from TMA, Joyce Makwata, asks farmers to get agricultural expertise about seeds and cultivation techniques that should be adopted this season. Here's a report prepared by Henry Mabumo and read by Amini Mgeni.
Explaining the weather patterns and the rains experienced during the period, the meteorologist from TMA, Joyce Makwata, say the rains will start leasing from December 29 and continue to lower level until April 2023.
For tomorrow, we still expect periods of heavy rains in these areas. The regions of Singida, Dodoma, southern Morogoro region, highlands areas in the southwest, areas of Ruvuma, Lindi and Mtwara, we expect periods of heavy rains not to appear on the 29th day.
In addition, she says in the period from the end of December to the beginning of January, there will be lack of rain in northern part of the country due to the presence of low pressure in the Indian Ocean, area in southern east of the island of Madagascar.
During January, these northern areas are still expected to continue to have lack of rain compared to the southern area of the country. Because of these rains that have continued to fall, farmers in collaboration with extension officers in areas where they do agriculture activities can get better advice that these rains can benefit them. On the part of Dar es Salaam, we expect a lack of rain from 28th tomorrow and towards the month of January in general.
In another step following the heavy rains experienced in Dar es Salaam, the previous night TBC has visited the areas which had water flooding challenges in Dar es Salaam region to witness the positive result of the infrastructure set up to combat problems.
We thank God even if it rains here, things are going well. The government has done a lot for this. We also have to give our contribution by removing dirt like this. People should not throw garbage so that it can be clean.
Lakini tupo sana sasa. Tunashukuru Mwenyezi Mungu kwa kutengenezea mazingira na rais wetu Samia.
We thank God and our President Samia. Water used to enter in my house through the window, but now that situation is completely gone. Yesterday, we looked at how the water flows, and we know now there is no flooding at all.
Now we sleep in peace. We thank God and the government too. The children sleep well. In the past, there was a lot of flooding. After it rains, people are not at peace, but now we sleep in peace.
The government is in the final stage of completing the construction of Ngombe River Bank, which passes through Dar es Salaam regions and which has been a major reason of flooding in many parts of Dar es Salaam.
Now let's fly to Qatar, where Tanzanians have been challenged to explore the opportunities that can be found in Qatar to generate job opportunities and increase the export business of various products, especially agricultural products. The following report is prepared by Evans Mohando and read by Nasser Kingu.
Qatar is an example of a country that has developed rapidly with modern infrastructure, unlike any other country in the world. The World Cup tournament has moved the country even further economically. The nation's workforce depends heavily on foreigners, and that could be an opportunity for Tanzania.
The working environment is actually good, and they have respect for us. It's all about applying for job opportunities through the agents, and there are various ways of doing so. I got this job through a Mombasa agent.
Before and during the World Tournament, many young people used the opportunity to find temporary jobs.
This is a good experience, especially for unemployed young people from various African countries. It's a big opportunity.
Tanzania can also use the opportunity.
There are actually few Tanzanians here at Qatar. Maybe there are now some plans to rectify this. The government has already signed contracts. Agents from Tanzania have also come here to meet with the agents here. So I think soon more Tanzanians will come here.
The Tanzanian ambassador to Qatar says there is great opportunity in meat business, and the demand is still high in Qatar.
Kwa hali yetu vitu ambavyo tunaweza kuuza ni hivyo ambavyo tumezungumzia zaidi, vitu vya bidhaa za kilimo.
We can sell agricultural products. Also, there are lots of employment opportunities here. Qatar is well developed, but they are very few. So in order for them to provide services to their people and the visitors here, they must continue to employ foreigners. So this is an opportunity for us to take.
Also, the country provides many study opportunities.
Kwa wale ambao wana uwezo ni eneo ambalo wanaweza kuchangamkia wenyewe, lakini
Qatar has universities with high quality educations. For those who can afford it, they can directly apply various courses. However, we are now looking into establishing scholarships.
That is Qatar, which has successfully organized the World Cup tournament this year. Tanzanians can also very well use the opportunities available for countries and individuals' benefits.
132 projects with a total value of $3.16 billion have been registered by Tanzania Investment Center TIC from July to November this year, which is an increase of 22.2% compared to the same period last year. Speaking in Dar es Salaam, TSC Acting Director Matthew Mnali says industrial sector has attracted 67 projects, followed by logistics, tourism, and agriculture, real estate as well.
Kiujumla wake, ukiangalia sasa katika sekta ambazo zimewekezwa miradi hii,
projects registered during this period shows the industrial sector is one of the leading registered projects, attracted about 67 projects, followed by 25 transport projects were registered. Tourism projects, 9 real estate projects, as well as 1 project from financial sector was registered, which counted a total of $3.16 billion.
Attracted about 21,297 employments, whereby 50 projects are foreign direct investment FDI, 30 owned by Tanzanians, and 52 are joint ventures. The Regional Administrative Secretary of Mwanza Region, Elikana Balandia, has instructed the district, municipal and city councils in the region to fully manage the use of development funds. He insists the projects being implemented must be relevant and productive for the people. Speaking at the meeting of the Association of Legal Authorities of Tanzania, ALET, Mwanza Region, Balandia has also instructed the leaders and executives of the council to effectively manage the collection of local revenue, as well as to act against anyone who is involved in acts of embezzlement of public funds. The following is Prepared by Moses Matthew and read by Apasia Ringo.
The construction of an emergency building in Sengerema District Council Hospital in Mwanza region that aims to strengthen the health services has now reached 95%.
The construction of the emergency building is expected to benefit the residents of the 26 wards of the Sengerema District Council and the neighboring areas as well, where the hospital is estimated to save a total of 400,077 residents.
Members of the Association of Local Authorities of Tanzania, ALAT in Mwanza, evaluates the progress of the construction implemented by the government at a cost of 350 million Tanzanian shillings, and they express their satisfaction with the progress made.
This project is excellent. They have worked hard. The value of money is seen. We thank the Almighty God, and we congratulate the people of Sengerema in general. They have worked hard to manage what the central government has brought. They are really doing justice to 3 million given to them. They have done well. The building is good and stable, so I advise other councils to imitate the Sengerema District Council. They have done very well in all the projects we visited.
The members have also inspected the construction of a dormitory as well as 8 classrooms in the Matongo Secondary School, as well as 6 classrooms in Katunguru Secondary School, all aim at improving the learning and teaching environment.
For security purposes, dormitory windows should be made in such a way that students can open them and get out in times of emergencies. If you cover the windows like that and any accident happens, they cannot get out. I advise the technicians to fix it.
In the ALAT meeting in Mwanza region, the Administrative Secretary of the region, Elikana Balandia, instructs the council to manage the funds for development of projects as well as to strengthen revenue collection.
All the money we receive, let's use them to strengthen our management system. Fight the misuse of council funds, public funds, with all our strength. When you have to take action, take action. Please don't mistreat anyone. It is very important to take disciplinary measures for all executives who are found to be involved in the misuse of council funds.
The members of the community are encouraged to make their monetary contributions on time to facilitate the ALAT operations. Apasia Ringo, TBC News.
As the year 2022 is about to end, many would currently focus on setting up their New Year resolutions. But is there an importance of one setting up spiritual goals? Earlier, I spoke with Pastor Johanna Mayenga from Celebration Church, and I started by asking him, how can one make spiritual goals part of his or her New Year resolutions? Take a look.
First, the first thing is by making them a priority. Like, you know, when we start the new year, new me, you just have to see what was wrong with the old you and where you went wrong. And most of the times when we forget about God, we find our lives spiraling downwards. So first we have to make it a priority to seek God. How can we make it a priority? By making time for it, setting time daily, like a few minutes of our time. That I know I work from, let's say, 8 to 5, but I can have 5 minutes of prayer in the morning before I get out. The 5 minutes can gradually increase to 10 minutes, and it's the small steps that count, because even the Bible warns us that we should not forget God who gives us the power to get wealth. Sometimes wealth has a way of blinding us, or the hustle, the daily hustle of life. So I think the first way that we can do this is making it a priority. When you make it a priority, you will make time for it. And it's the small steps that count. You can say that New Year, we have to set realistic goals. You can say that I'm going to start with night vigils every week, while you haven't been able to have a consistent prayer life of 10 minutes or 5 minutes. So it's the small steps that count. Make it a priority, and also increase the steps. Just take the baby steps and then build from there. Yeah.
How important now are these spiritual goals?
It is important because the Bible says in Proverbs that where people have no vision, people cast off restraints. Having spiritual goals will help you to work towards them. It's just like the way you're studying. If you want to have an A, you'll study like an A student. You'll make goals towards that. And the Bible also tells us in the book of 3 John that we should, it is a wish for good health as your spirit prospers. So this prosperity of your spiritual life will affect all other areas. In fact, even some of the diseases that people are sick is due to unforgiveness or other issues of life, which could be averted if our spiritual life would be in balance. Issues like forgiveness.
Let's talk a bit about mental health.
Yeah.
It has been an issue that is talked about worldwide.
Yeah.
Do you think religion or faith has a place in this matter?
Yes.
How so?
How so? Biologically, there are some hormones, happy hormones, if they're said. There's serotonin, dopamine, and the others. Now, among the things that these hormones are generated and released is through exercise, sleep, meditation, and listening to music. Most religions, and I'll speak from the Christian faith as a pastor, we have songs we call worship songs that are deep. If you sit and meditate on the goodness of God, coming from such an atmosphere, you'll find yourself either crying and you're releasing stress, you're releasing pain and surrendering it to God, seeking His help. You know, you're reaching out to a power that is higher than your ability, and from there you'll find comfort, you'll find peace, you'll find that the Holy Spirit is ministering to you in such situations.
It was Pastor Johanna Mayenga from Celebration Church. Moving on, wonders of creation. Here's a story from Mara region of an old tree that is 70 years old and that has grown on a rock that has never dried up. Here's a report by Pascal Michael, read by Nasa Kingo.
Here is where Mount Baraka is, in Bunda Town, Mara region. It is an area with various cultural attractions, including a tree that has grown on top of a rock. And here is a bit of its history.
This is a tree that grew on a rock. Usually trees grow from the soil, so this has been really astonishing. This is one of a kind tree, a tree that looks like a human being.
Lakini pia kuna mti mwingine ukiwa pale umeota juu ya jiwe kubwa.
There is this one tree which has grown on top of a rock, and it has 70 years, and the residents say that it is miraculous tree.
Some of the residents of Bunda have come here to celebrate Christmas and Boxing Day, and they testify what they have seen.
Hakika nimestaajabishwa.
I am very astonished by what I have witnessed. I have been to a lot of places, but I have never seen something as good as this. I have seen a tree that looks like a human being.
Na mti ambao umeota kwenye jiwe, kwenye mwamba wa jiwe.
There is a tree that has grown on top of a rock, and also down there is a rock that is shaped like a canoe.
But the main attraction here is the tree.
That tree is shaped like a human being. What I want to say is that Tanzania is blessed with a lot of natural attractions. We should continue to advocate for our attractions, just like how President Dr. Samia Suluhu Hassan did her best in promoting tourism. As you can see, there is an influx of tourists. Other tourists should visit not only just Kilimanjaro and the Serengeti, they should also come here.
Kuna mti mmoja ukiwa hapa nyuma yangu hapa nyuma yangu una umbile la binadamu lakini ni mti.
There is a tree here that is shaped like a human being. This is one of Tanzania's tourist attractions. We ask the government to also support places like this.
Fascinating indeed. And that marks the end of our news bulletin for tonight. I am Faida Ngaga. Happy holidays.
TBC1, ukweli na uhakika. Ni kishindo cha awamu ya 6.
Kishindo awamu ya 6, niko kikosi cha jeshi 837 chita cha jeshi la kujenga taifa JKT mkoani Morogoro. Jeshi la kujenga taifa lina majukumu mbalimbali. Katika kikosi hiki linaendesha majukumu ya uzalishaji mali, ikiwa kilimo, ufugaji pamoja na uzalishaji mbegu za mpunga, ikiwa ni kilimo cha umwagiliaji wakati wa kiangazi na kilimo cha wakati wa masika. Serikali ya awamu ya 6 imeliwezesha jeshi la kujenga taifa zana za kilimo pamoja na mitambo ili kuliwezesha kufikia mkakati wake wa kilimo ili ifikapo 2024-2025 liweze kujitosheleza kwa chakula na kuzalisha ziada ili kuwa na uhakika wa chakula kwa taifa.
Hiki ni kishindo cha awamu ya 6.
JKT limefanikiwa kujenga skimu ya umwagiliaji kule Chita. Skimu hii inaendelea vizuri. Sasa hivi kwa ujumla wake imekamilika kwa 64%. Lakini tunaendelea kujenga kwa kutumia fedha zinazopatikana ndani ya jeshi la kujenga taifa. Lakini vile vile sasa hivi tuna mawasiliano, tuna taasisi nyingine, serikali kwa ujumla imekuwa ikiuangalia ule mradi kama ni mradi wa kimkakati vile vile. Tukauchukulia ni kwa kimkakati kwa ajili ya usalama wa chakula nchini. Mradi huu utakapokamilika tutazalisha mpunga wa kutosha ambao tutajitosheleza wenyewe kwa chakula kama jeshi la kujenga taifa, lakini vile vile na taifa litapata chakula kupitia mradi ule. Tumeweza kununua vitendea kazi. Vitendea kazi tunamaanisha magari, tunamaanisha mitambo mbalimbali kwa ajili ya kufanya kilimo, mitambo kwa ajili ya ujenzi. Tumeweza kujitahidi kununua mitambo ya kutosha ili tuweze kufanya kilimo cha kisasa, kilimo cha